Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. Alright, it's the morning of my last day, and I was just kind of out messing around in the yard a little bit, and I decided what it is I'm going to do today, or at least what it is I'm going to start. I'm going to start one of my first backyard projects. So let's look at what it is. This is that planter that had those funny pumpkin looking things in there, and I kind of decided that the plant had kind of done everything it's going to do, so I pulled it out, and basically this is what we got in terms of the harvest this year. Probably just going to put those in the house and have them as decoration. They're kind of a cool little fall kind of Christmassy looking thing. So that's what those are going to be. And since I got this thing all torn up now, I think I want to start building the new one. You remember I told you a couple months ago that I actually want to replace this one with two new ones, and I originally thought I was going to maybe move this one this way a little bit and then put another one this way between the next to the shed, between the shed and this one, and then put a little path between them. But I've actually thought about that now, and I think I'm going to do two of them, and they're going to face this way, and then I'll put like a 2-foot path between them. And this one here is 4 foot by 8 foot, and the shed itself is 8 foot wide. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to have the one on the left here will be flush with the edge of the shed, maybe about 2-3 inches off the shed. And then there'll be a 2-foot path in the middle between the two, and then there'll be another one that'll kind of stick out, probably out to about here, which will be fine because of the ladders being there and all that anyway. So that's not a problem. It'll also cut down the amount of mess that kind of accumulates between the shed and the planter here, because I'm only planning on maybe leaving 3 or 4 inches in there, and so hopefully that'll keep a lot of the leaf waste out of there. Now I'm not actually gonna put any plants in the ground at this point, but I want to kind of start thinking about how this is going to look, and I think that starts with me going out and buying some stuff. Home Depot, here we come. Alright, so I'm back from Home Depot. I got a bunch of 2x6s that are 8 feet long. I figured I'd need 12 of them because I'm going to make 4 foot by 8 foot long planters. So I'll need and I'm going to do them double high, so it's going to be about 12 inches tall. And I also got a whole bunch of these cool little brick pieces here, and that's the thing that's going to hold them together. It's almost like a little Tinker Toy thing. You can stack these bricks up, and then the lumber just fits between these slots here, and you can do it in any shape or any configuration you want. You can do it several layers high, like I'm going to do, and it's got this nice little hole in the middle so that I can drive some rebar down there so that the pavers don't move, because last thing you want them to do is when they're on the ground is when the gravity of the dirt starts pushing on it, starts pushing it away, and the whole thing comes apart. So they got the hole down the middle so you can attach it to the ground so it doesn't move. So like I said, I bought some 4-foot chunks of rebar, and we're just going to drive that between the holes, and that'll hold everything together. And then I just put the rest of them out here in the backyard because they don't need to be protected from the environment or anything. If they get a little bit wet, that's fine. Now, I'm planning on, like I said, doing 2 rows this way rather than this way. And I was planning on having a 2-foot gap in the middle that I was going to put some like little tiny pebbles or something on there, just so that there's like a pathway between it that's easy to navigate and will kind of resist weeds. And I started looking here, and it's like, you know what? The people who lived here before left some of these brick pavers here, and I'm figuring, you know what? I'm going to use those instead. Hey, they're here already. They're in good shape. They're ready to be used, and it isn't going to be 24 inches. It'll be about 32 inches wide, but that's okay. I'll put 2 of these next to each other, and that's what's going to pave the ground between the planters. So, just going to recycle something that the previous owners left for me. They left a bunch of kind of neat stuff that I can use in future projects. So, why not, right? Now, one of the issues I kind of went back and forth on a little bit with the lumber is whether I wanted to get regular lumber or pressure-treated lumber. Pressure-treated lumber is lumber that's infused with a chemical that kind of makes it resist water a little bit. It's actually, so if you're going to be making contact with like soil like this is going to do, it kind of protects the wood from being eaten up a little bit and deteriorating really quick as a result of the constant moist conditions. The downside to that, though, is the pressure treating process tends to discolor the wood. Makes it kind of a green color. It also introduces a bunch of like pock marks into it, because they actually make some little holes in the wood so that the pressure treated liquid infuses into the pores more. And so I think it makes the wood look horrible. So at the end of the day, I elected to go with regular untreated lumber, and I'm just going to coat it with a water sealant. This is actually something that's designed for decks, but what it'll do is I'll put a couple coats on that, and that will protect the wood, and it'll actually keep the wood looking nice. So the wood will be, you'll be able to see the natural wood grain. It won't discolor it in any way, and I think it'll be a nicer looking product. So at the end of the day, that's what I chose to do. Now I'm going to begin by doing that sealing today, and that starts with me taking the lumber and cutting it into the pieces that we're needing. Like I said, it's going to be a 4 foot by an 8 foot side, so a 4 foot by 8 foot planter. So some of these are going to stay at 8 feet long, the others are going to be cut in half. So I'm going to start with that, and then we're going to go and water seal each of them. Okay, so I've cut all of the lumber. I've got the 4 foot pieces over here, the 8 foot pieces over here. I kind of made sure that all of the 8 foot pieces are exactly the same length. I've actually paired them together here. So like this one and this one are going to be together. This one and this are to be together to make sure that they are exactly the same length. Basically what I did is I just stacked the lumber on top of each other when I cut it so that the lines are identical. So next step now is got to be to put the first coat of the water sealant on there. And I've actually decided I'm going to do this with a roller. It's a little quicker doing it that way than doing it with a brush. And so that'll allow us to get this done really quick. All right, so I got the first coat on half of the long pieces of lumber. I'm going to let this stuff dry a little bit. This dries actually pretty fast. So we'll give it a good 20 or 30 minutes to dry a little bit. Then we're going to try and flip it over and do the other side. But coming along good, I think. All right, a couple hours have passed by. I've gotten a couple coats on the long pieces. I've got a single coat each on both sides of the short pieces. And now I'm just going to kind of let it dry for a while. This stuff does take a little while to dry. You can get kind of to the point where you can flip it over and lay it on a surface so you can do the other side after a short period of time. But you really need to give it a little bit of time to really settle. So I'm going to let this thing settle now, and it's probably going to get to settle for the next few days because I'm going back to work as of tomorrow, and this is my long week. So I think that's all that I have for today. This is coming along really well, so we'll pick this up again next week and continue with it, and hopefully in the next week or two we'll get these things installed, and I think they're going to look really cool. So that is all that I have for today. Thank you as always for watching. And I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.